Hello, I am going to chat with you about feminism and anxious attachment. Hi, I'm Emma Coble. I'm a feminist therapist and a trauma therapist in Colorado. I work with clients in Colorado and Florida. If you are someone with anxious attachment and you also identify as a feminist, this can feel really confusing and kind of hard to navigate or understand because what might happen is, on the one hand, you might recognize that you really don't want to be feeling anxious attachment, but and you rationally understand the ways that women have been culturally predisposed to overly fixate on other people and other people's needs. And on the other hand, you might feel like you still suffer from this. And sometimes there can be a level of shame that comes with it. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about that tension and that shame and how to work through it if this is you. So, okay, first of all, what is anxious attachment? So you're probably familiar with this, but it is hyperfixation on other people, anxiety and hypervigilance about other people's love and attention for you, weaning or waning, feeling preoccupied maybe with how your partner feels about you, worrying about being abandoned or not being prioritized, and then feeling like you're too much, you're always craving closeness, and feeling often activated when your partner needs some space. These patterns come because oftentimes in early childhood, love and connection was inconsistent. Sometimes we had to earn love or connection through being good or being like a parentified child. However, we also learn to do this. We learn to do this, that we need to earn love through societal conditioning, which I'm going to get into in a second. But I do want to just validate that for a lot of people, you might have this sensation, if you're experiencing this, of like, am I too much? Is there something wrong with me? And I'm here to tell you, no, you're not too much. Nothing is wrong with you. This is incredibly common. It's something society has conditioned you to experience, and you're not alone. And this isn't something you just have to, buckle up and kind of like, accept that this is something that's immovable in you. So, okay. A lot of times I hear clients say things like, I don't want to be struggling this way. I don't want to be preoccupied or worried about my relationship. But I just am. I just struggle with it, and I know rationally that I don't want to do that, but I'm still struggling. And so, yeah, so this can be an incredibly frustrating place to be. And I also want to validate that your need and wants for love and connection are not weaknesses. These are human, and it's actually very strong to be able to be that vulnerable to admit that love and connection and closeness are important to you. People who struggle with anxious attachment are oftentimes very emotionally intelligent and attuned, and again, we're often taught to be that way. So if you combine oftentimes the trauma history that comes with anxious attachment, the social conditioning that many women or femme identifying people face, it can feel like, oh my God, there's so many obstacles to this. And we want to focus down on fixing you or making that anxious attachment go away, but just noticing how you can move through your feelings with more care, and how you can relate to this part of yourself that is anxiously attached with more care and compassion as well. If you have anxious attachment, you've probably encountered also an avoidant partner. And these are people who often might feel emotionally overwhelmed by closeness or might need a lot of space. And so this is a really common dynamic to have someone be anxious, someone be avoidant, especially in heterosexual relationships. It's not always the case at all, but many times the the female identifying partner is more anxiously avoidant, and the male identifying partner in heterosexual relationships is more avoidant. So this is painful, and it's not a you problem. Again, this is something that is socially conditioned. Another way that avoidant people can be conditioned to be that way is if they are male or male identifying, like they have been taught not to rely on others for their feelings, not to be dependent, not to show vulnerability, and this can trigger that feeling of anxiety in an anxiously attached person. Okay, so how do we depathologize and heal this anxious attachment through a feminist lens? Well, the first thing is, yes, to just recognize that your needs are valid, they're okay. There's nothing wrong with you, again, for needing this closeness and for having that anxiety. Your nervous system is sensitive to connection, and that's a good thing. This is not a bad thing. It's a sign of emotional depth, it's a sign of empathy, and you don't need to make this go away. Okay. The other thing is to learn to do some self-regulation, which is something I work with clients often in therapy, to be able to, when this comes up, to take care of your own nervous system, to comfort that anxious part of you that's scared, and give it a lot of love and compassion, without needing necessarily always to turn to a partner or to other people to fix it. Also, to watch in your relationships for like over functioning. Like if you're doing so much and taking care of the other person so much and not listening to yourself or your needs, that is something to just notice and be aware of, and sometimes to set some boundaries around and step back from. Remember that you deserve like rest, relaxation, connection, nurturing as well. Also, like, stay curious about this part. And again, I've said this over and over, but like, work on like not being critical toward this part, being kind toward it, developing that compassion. Remember that you're not broken, that this is normal. And if you do want some help with any of this, I'd love to chat with you. Reach out for a free consultation. Thanks.